Hello, Dr. Isom. In Jacob Kozal's novel Amazing Grace, the two themes I found Kozal portrayed as the most significant and prevalent were social injustice and overcoming adversity. For my visual representation project, I chose to illustrate a path to higher education for two different demographics. On one side of my illustration, I simulated an upper to middle class citizen's path to higher education. This path to higher education starts with them being born with access to quality social and medical services. They also reside in safe and suburban areas, mostly in single-family homes. Living in safe and nice areas provides them access to good public schools and good public education. Good public schools are correlated with school ranks and are helpful for getting into college. Along with the fact that they have access to better public education, higher income allows for better test prep on standardized testing, which is a major factor in college admissions. This path to higher education is straightforward and does not have a lot of roadblocks and challenges that must be endured. I chose to incorporate this aspect to the representation because when thinking about America in terms of the American dream, middle class is supposed to be average, as well as obtainable by anyone who works a hard and honest living. However, this is not the case, which leads me to the other side of my illustration. In poor and underclass communities like the Bronx, New York, it is near impossible for citizens to succeed and find opportunity, given the everyday challenges associated with their segregated living arrangement. Kozal believes that conservative politicians in New York City and other cities alike have ignored the horrendous living conditions of its poorest citizens and failed to provide adequate funding for programs including housing, medical services, social services, and education. These politicians could be defined as dominants by Jean Miller Baker, due to the fact that they are trying to keep a minority demographic confined to a few unimportant roles in society. Of the 48,000 people living in Mott Haven, one of the poorest areas in South Bronx, 35% of the residents are children. The youth in impoverished communities are being denied the resources that are essential for the development to becoming a productive member of society. In poor, lower, and underclass areas, lower income citizens are provided with inadequate funding for social and medical services and often will have to wait hours on end to seek medical service, as stated by one of Kozal's interviewees, Maria. They're put in the worst and lowest funded public education schools, where they are often treated as statistics of the system. They're placed in low-income housing projects where temperatures in the winter often plummet below zero and violent crime rates make you live in fear of being shot at random while walking down the street. They are not given a fighting chance. While working on this project, the question I found myself asking the most was, how can we expect people to succeed when we set them up to fail? We simply cannot expect great things from these poor citizens because the odds are completely against them and no effort is being made to help these struggling individuals. An outside text from our class that I related this to was Jean Baker Miller's Permanent Inequality. Miller states that there's no assumption that the goal of an unequal relationship is to end the inequality. In fact, quite the reverse. I related this to the text as well as my analysis because this is exactly what is going on in the Bronx. No effort is being made by city officials to help these struggling people. It is almost as if poorer citizens are being ignored so we can keep them cornered away from the rest of society and never really give them a chance to make a great impact on this world. Until we start treating lower class and poor citizens as equal to the upper and middle echelon members of society, we will most likely not see much social progress in this realm. Although the poor and inner city students of the Bronx are not provided with the proper resources citizens should be entitled to, they still find a way to persevere and overcome adversities. The poor youth always have to live in constant fear of external factors such as disease, violence, and broken homes. Despite these hardships, most of the children Kozal interviews seem to be very motivated to persevere as well, as they are not bitter or sorry for their circumstances. On page 72, when talking about the youth, Kozal states, "There is nothing predatory in these children. They know that the world does not much like them, and they try hard to be good to one another. Even though these children cannot make a huge difference in one another's life, there is a sense of communal support for one another in these neighborhoods." Imagine if these children had support from those who hold enough power and ability to make and see change. The inner city students of the Bronx have been denied the access to tools and resources that help their chances of getting into college. However, this is unimportant. Through their years of adversity and challenges, these students have built tremendous resilience, which is much more highly correlated to academic success than test scores. Resilience cannot be bought or given to someone. It must be obtained through years of overcoming struggles and enduring much pain. This resilience is something that can never be taken away from the poor and underclass citizens.